Alright, I'm gonna admit it. I like opening Black Lion chests, especially when the Black Lion exclusive looks cool. Or lately, whenever something cool can be bought from the Statuette vendor. I don't buy any keys from the gem store though. Not only is this not an option because they're prohibited by my country's rules and regulations, I wouldn't have the money to spend on them anyway. But that's no problem, because I get at least one guaranteed key for less than 15 minutes of work per week, and a shot at a second one for another 3 minutes of playing. If you're anything like me, you might not like it that story completion is character based instead of account based. I hate seeing that green star marker on the top right of my screen. Some might call it an OCD, I call it quirky. Despite this, it's a good thing that story progression is character based, because the level 10 story chapter is guaranteed to award you a Black Lion chest key, but only once per account per week. ArenaNet didn't like people endlessly creating new characters and getting a free key every 15 minutes. So if you have a spare character slot, it pays to dedicate it to a weekly key farming character. The 15 minutes I mentioned above is when you create a human commoner. They have the fastest questline to complete, as other races or choices will take longer. So if you only care about speed, go for a human commoner and make sure it's a class with enough burst. The wiki mentions that people prefer elementalists, guardians and revenants for this purpose, mainly due to the skills they will have available at level 10. And this brings me to my next point. You cannot do the level 10 chapter without being, well, level 10. So let me help you optimize the process. First things first, you'll be stuck in the intro quests when you make a new character. People who often make new characters for map completion speedruns will know that you can consume a Tome of Knowledge to level up, which will then allow you to use one of the launch passes, such as a Mistlock, Lily of the Elon or any other you might have available, and skip the tutorial. I ran out of Tomes of Knowledge recently after a bout of legendary crafting though, but that's not a problem. Because if you have the Home Portal Stone, you can actually use that to skip the intro at level 1. ArenaNet, if you're watching, for the love of God, don't nerf this, please. Alright, so we made it out of the introduction instance at level 1 or 2, now we need to get to level 10. If you have Tomes of Knowledge, pop them until you're level 10 or 11. More on why you might want the extra level later. If you don't have any tomes, but you do have experience scrolls from other characters' birthdays, you can use those instead. And if you have neither, there is a few other methods that are often overlooked. There are a few consumables, such as the mount treats, but they're no good, because you can only consume one per account per day. There's also the casino coins from the Piñata meta, but they only grant you 0.25% of a level, and I doubt you wanna collect 3600 of those per week just to skip the leveling process. So if you're all out of tomes or experience scrolls and you don't want to level up the old-fashioned way, you can actually level cooking to about level 200. This will bring you to level 10 and it's relatively cheap to do so. I mentioned level 11 earlier, and that's because at level 11 you can equip a few extra skills which might help you speed things up, especially if your class has a couple of signets that will help you take care of enemies faster. You don't need to feel forced to do so though, because you will also reach level 11 in the process of getting your key anyway. And that's basically the gist of it. Every week, make a new character, run the level 10 story quest until you get your free key, and you can delete the character straight after, to do it all over again on next Monday's reset. But let's not stop there. You don't technically need to create a new character if one of your alts hasn't completed the level 10 story yet. So it might be worth it to make it down the list of all of your characters one at a time until you've gone through them all. And the reason I mention alts is because of map completion. Fully exploring a map grants you a 30% chance to receive a key as a reward as well. So any character with which you haven't explored Bloodstone Fen and is level 80, I would urge you to do so. That map has no hero points, no hearts to complete, and only has 4 waypoints, 7 points of interest and 3 vistas. If you use test trails in Blishot, this will take you less than 3 minutes total with a Griffin. I'll repeat, you need to be level 80 for a chance at a key from Bloodstone Fen. Only characters at level 80 get the map rewards from exploring level 80 maps. So with this method, you will be getting 1.3 keys per week. I'll touch on how you might want to spend them in a bit. If you have the resilience, there are a few more guaranteed keys you can obtain. Chapters 4 and 6 of the personal story also reward you a guaranteed key, so it might be worth it after all to slog through the story on some of your alts. Episode 6 from Living World Season 2, as well as Act 3 from Heart of Thorns, are also guaranteed to reward you with a key. If you want to get more keys per week, or you don't want to do those story chapters, you can indulge in my favorite activity, map exploration. If you need help cutting down your time from weeks to hours to fully explore all maps in Tyria, go and check out my map exploration guide. As I mentioned before, every map you explore will have a 30% chance to give you a key as well. If you're going for one of the level 80 maps, which are often faster to explore, and Verdant Brink is a great example of that, you need to be level 80 to be able to receive the reward though. Now, you might not want to instantly use the keys you get, unless you enjoy opening at least one chest per week, of course. A couple of Reddit users have opened 33,000 Blackline chests and shared all of their data with us. They used the End of Dragons beta event to amass an insane number of keys. Because actually buying that amount on the gem store would have cost about 50k US dollars. I'll share a link to their Reddit post and infographic in the pinned comment, but the main takeaway from their data is regarding the Black Lion exclusives. Every chest will have 2 exclusives and they're often really cool skins, be it for your character, your mount, skiff, or maybe something else. You'll have a 50% chance to get at least one of the 2 exclusives by using 52 keys, and a 95% chance to get one by spending 142 keys. I hope these numbers also show how expensive it would be to simply buy keys from the gem store until you get the exclusive you might be eyeing. Recently, ArenaNet has done us a massive favor though. They added all the old exclusives to the Statuettes vendor. So if you farm at least your weekly key and maybe even instantly spend it, with enough patience you'll be able to buy the exclusives from the Statuette vendor. It'll cost you 60 statuettes when it's recently been added and will lower in price the longer it is available. If you have any other comments or questions, feel free to list them down below, and liking and subscribing would really make me happy.